All right, welcome back to our Deck.Toys tutorial. In this episode, we're going to look at study set activities. So we already have our background in place, and I'm just going to come over and look at the signpost as well. Let's say, when you start off, you want to say, let's start with the signpost, and wherever I drag it, wherever that green circle pops up, is a place where I can put and drop a post. So I can drop a post right here. I can edit the title. I can put something like start here. Nice and easy. If I were to double click on it, or I can pull the little arrow down and say edit the activity, I can go through and give some short instructions. We can put the Deck Toys rocket is on its way to the sun. You know, can you stop the rocket before it hits the sun? Mark. There we go. Of course, I want to give them some good luck. So good luck, guys, and save it. You also notice if I can double click that I can, or just click, I can say embed a GIF in here. Awesome. I can add a link. I can change the font size for my younger students, maybe make it a little bit bigger for them. Whatever you need to, you have a few different options for them. Cool. I could rename it. Next, you're going to notice that there are little pathways that I can choose from. So I'm going to say, let's go across and let's add a study set. I'm just going to drag that in. There we go. I can add a study set this way, or I can just go over and just delete that. If I want to say, I want to start with this easy set, I want this set first, I'm going to click and just drop it on the map. And when I do, it creates that study set for me as well. So now this is a match. Let's look and explore some of the different options. So I'm going to, again, click and say edit, or just click on the study set. And here we go. So you have a lot of different options to choose from. This one is a matching game. And again, if I want to, I can go through and change which study set I'm looking at. I was to the easy one. So in the matching game, students have to go through and just match these up. So they have to click and drag the answer on top, or they can grab the question and drop it on top. Usually it's easier if they grab whichever one is smaller and put it on top of the bigger one, especially for younger grades. But in this case, since they're all kind of the same, it makes it super easy to kind of do that. Notice they turn green if you get them right, and I didn't get any wrong. Easy. So that is a quick matching game. Lines is also something a little bit similar. I can click on the arrow and drag it to whatever one is correct. Let's get one wrong and say, oop, it's turned pink, no points awarded. You get it right, it turns green. One of the tricks here, again, is keeping this with a 4 or 5 maybe questions so it doesn't overwhelm the screen. If student has their screen is not showing everything, you can press the Control minus button to zoom in a little bit or zoom out a little bit, or I can click and drag that arrow up a little ways and have students pause, drag it again on top of whatever answer it needs to go to. So that's another way you could do things, is drag it part way up the screen if the screen's kind of too small for it, and then finishing it up is a nice easy way. The maze is so fun. Students love this one. Here's another reason why I only see 3. I know there's 4 instead of scrolling down. I don't like scrolling, so that Control minus can help with that zooming for students going through. The object here is to match up the items on the left with the items on the right. So here we go. If I click on the card itself, it will highlight that vehicle. I can just move my mouse around and through the maze. I can just leave them part way through. The object is then to get to the right answer. So here I need to click on the car and drag them through until I get to that trolley. There we go. If I get it right, it turns green and they disappear, they move up. Let's get one wrong. So the truck, oh, I don't want the truck is going to go there. So let's move it to somewhere different. And let's mark it, get it wrong. Let's see what happens. So when I come up, there it is, it turns pink. It does not go away. So they go through and match them all up. Memory game, really cool to go through, and they click on the different tiles and they have to figure out what's the right answer until they get one right. It turns green and they kind of stay right there for you to look at. Nice memory game. Game show is a Jeopardy-like game. So you can kind of see here, I can go through and say for 200 points, 6. That really doesn't give me much of an information. So let's look at maybe another set. Here we go. Say, what is C equal? So depending on how you phrase those questions, the terms and definitions will depend on kind of how this game show works out. So be careful of that. Pairs is really cool. This is where you can set it up that students would go through, and in class, they would have a card that to stand up, go find their partner who has the correct match. When they find the correct match, it tells them there is a key code, so S2. So if person number one, student one, comes over and says, yep, you're my buddy, they would come down and enter in S2, and they were able to unlock it and say, boom, you got it. Nice job. Choices is like a multiple choice quiz. Students can go through, click on an answer, submit it. It would show if they're right or if they're wrong. Let's get one wrong. Let's choose 6. There we go. It would show them the right answer. Got it. So a quick multiple choice quiz. Jigsaw is awesome. This would the students go through and put together a jigsaw puzzle. One of my things I like is putting in a picture which might have like a problem on it. And so I can go through and solve this problem or solve this, this picture, this quick little jigsaw. So hang tight. One thing that's important to note is as you get pieces together, notice that they will just snap and click in. At the very end, it will give you your time, your results to go through and do that. So now as students put it together a picture, they go, oh, look, there it is. And that might be an answer that they could use to move on, like a breakout, which we'll talk about in a later episode. All right, next you also have a crossword puzzle that you can use. And of course, you probably have to find something that has maybe some different words. Here we go. Awesome. So this is a crossword puzzle, so like one across. Students could click on it and type in, what is it? And then 2 going down. You can just go through and type in, I'm gonna make a mistake. There we go. Go back over so they have a little crossword puzzle they can solve. Word wheel is like Wheel of Fortune. They can spin it, guess a letter, and they get points for doing this. So if I say there's an S, boom, there's one S. I can spin again and then go through and say, ooh, 30, 40 points, great. Let's get a B in there. And they can go through and earn points and so forth. Awesome. Rockets is like a hangman where they go through and they can just guess if they get it right. So if they B, A, if they get one wrong, if they get J, marks it off and they lose a rocket. I, there's no I, so they fall down. Pretty slick. Sort Me, love this one. So let's go through. I'm going to pick a couple. I've added this to my deck. Great for younger grades. Or if you're looking at vocabulary or maybe some math terms, how do they fit in here? Some higher level thinking. So here's OG, and say if they get it right, it turns green. If they get it wrong, let's get one wrong. It turns red if you solve it just for a second, and it gets put in the correct order. So it gives students immediate feedback. Love that. Now let's look at word attack. There we go, word attack, perfect. So we have the word hog. Students have to choose, is that OT or is it OG? Choose between categories. They choose it, it turns blue. If they get it right, then it turns green. Let's try again, one wrong. Let's check, here we go, it turns blue. This is red. Here's the correct answer. So they choose between 2 different categories. Thank you, word attack. Word search, just like it sounds, it is a word search where students are going to have to go through and find the words off to the side, hot, rot, and not. Here's my OT words. Drawing guess is where you could have a student in your room will be assigned to sketch out a word, draw it on their computer. Everyone else in their room will be guessing what word are they trying to draw. Sequencing, this is where students will go through and put something in a sequence. This could be good for maybe like your scientific theory, and you can go through and say, what comes in first, or maybe layers of rocks or something. Could be a fun one. Anything in a sequence. Maybe it's things that happened in the book that you read, or chapter 1. They can go through and put things in order that way. Okay, deck of cards. This will randomly assign students a deck of cards. And then we're back to flashcards. Flashcards is awesome. Maybe you want students to kind of go through and say at their own pace, to say what is the answer to this. I like using the arrow keys. So the down arrow or the up arrow will flip it over. It helps especially for those even in younger grades. Instead of comparing, click on the spin it over, or even the time to drag up and get that. It's just easier, even for upper grade students. They'd love just to use that down or up arrow to flip the card over. The right arrow will move them along. You notice that I'm on 2 of 5. The left arrow will bring them back. Right arrow moves them forward. And again, the down or up arrow flips them over. So flashcards, great for vocabulary, just kind of getting students all on the same level. Say, all right, remember these ideas. Great. Then we'll go through and play some games. All right, so let's go through and build this up. So maybe we'll start with flashcards, but maybe I don't. If I want to change that, let's edit that activity. And maybe I do want that matching game because it's something easy. Awesome. I've got it. I can go up and hit save. Let's go ahead and branch this down. I'll grab in deck number 2 and put it as a maze. You can click on these little arrows, which way you want to branch it. Here comes number 3. We definitely don't want flashcards. Let's edit that and put something fun, maybe some lines in there. Great, so they can kind of line them up. Awesome. I can use my little deck. Let's cross the bridge. Drop in number 4. We have a memory game. I can go down or around, however I want to do that, and put in some other different options in here before we get to the sun. There we go. I could add in just different things. Um, As you go through, I'm just kind of dumping some things in. I go back and change them. You can also say I have a certain category, like on this island, I'm going to make them green, so I can change the color of the activities, which is pretty sweet. I also have some other different ideas, like I could set it as an entry point, so it could be different. Instead of this is the entry point where students have to start, I can mark it as an entry point. I can also do some other little advanced things, which I'll show you in another lesson of how to add like a lock or a reward. We'll get to that in the next video. There you go. And those are the different study set activities. Thanks for watching. But before I let you go, one more thing. If I want to differentiate or have some fun here, may is my easy path. I'll put in green. I could make a separate path off to the side and say, let's come down here. And before I cross, maybe I want this the harder path. I can just click and move these over. There we go. And so maybe this is my easy way. I can come over and mark down, hey, this is the easy path. This is easy number 1. Here we go. So students know, oh, this is an easier path, and they don't know what it actually is. I can get rid of me's. Easy number 2. I can move it down easy number 3. On the other side, I can just click where it says memory. Let's get rid of that and say this is the more difficult path. Hard number 1, hard number 2, and so forth. So that way students have they have some choice as they enter here. Which pathway do you want to go to? Another idea could be to add in a video, which we'll show in the next part. You can add in a little help video along the way, and getting them all the way across. When they're done, you can put me a little signpost over here, change that to, hey, you made it, or congrats. Here we go. And if I click on it, there we go. I can add a little congratulations. Hey, great job today. Saved planet Earth from the rocket. Yay, good job. Something like that. I can show you in, again, another advanced video coming up, how we can even turn that into a hyperlink, add it and move it on to a level 2. But that'll be for another time. There you go. Congrats. Now we are done.